What's going on, guys? DJ Av here. Smash that like button. We're gonna learn how to make bells like these. Bells. So, I'm gonna talk about the specific parts, and as you see on the screen, you have the Savage Modes presets bank for Tone2, ElectraX or Electra 2. It works in both. And stuff I'm going to tell you is going to work in both as well for the sound designing part of it, so that you can, get your hands dirty. Let me see. I'm going to go ahead and go into screen mode. So goodbye, Mcree, face cam. So in front of us, we have Electra 2. I always say that, but you can approach it. The main gist of it is, what I want y'all to know is that you can make a bell in several different ways. But this specific bell right here, from like Bad Guy or whatnot, is more or less of a sine wave. I know it says PD sine saw. That's because, if you change the pulse width of it, it becomes a sawtooth, and do that, and then it's a saw. I mean, it's a whoa. It is a sine wave. Woo! Tripping. However, notably enough, there is a little bit of frequency modulation here. You have two different tones. You have an undertone and a main tone, and they're being synced together. So with them, one is a carrier and one is the constant. If that makes any sense to you guys. But we're gonna initialize, and we're gonna listen to just the bell line here. So initializing is just reset all, and you'll notice a few things off top. So the first thing I would like to tackle, because bells and plucks are pretty much of the same magnitude, so I would get rid of the sustain in the volume envelope. Then add some decay. The attack you don't mess with at all. It's already fast attack. If you dial it in, or if it's already like that, you just keep the attack as fast as possible, which is all the way to the left. Now, when going to select the sine saw, you can select PD sine saw, and then you'll have to adjust the pulse width. Now, adding some sync and turning it up. Turn up the other octave for the second oscillator, and go ahead and rinse and repeat. You can find either, you can use a sine square again, and make sure you turn it on. Now, the only thing that's missing, that's missing from the sound now, is the fact that I had a little bit. I had a reverb. I think I had a little bit more decay in there. And that's how you make a bell. Simple as that, right? So this is for the bonus round. If you really want to give your bells and stuff like character, you really want to pay attention to this stuff right here, because there's certain things that that you could do to further this process here. One, you can add a little bit more of a analog feel, and I hate to use that in such an arbitrary way, seeing that this is not analog. This is obviously DSP and digital, because it's a plugin that generates waveforms via DSP code. But fine tuning this, you could use an LFO. I'm going to use LFO 1, and from there I'm going to add it to add modulation to the fine tune of 1. Now if I do that, it's going to be ridiculously goofy. From my last video, I remember I was telling you about the Mod Matrix. When I was telling you about the Mod Matrix or whatnot, how you channel modulation, the main thing I was saying is how you get control of your LFO. Now that you have your LFO here, and that these numbers right here just mean how much you want to apply to fine tune 1, which is right here. So if you add more, you get that goofy shit right there. But if you add just a little bit, you get sort of a inconsistency, kind of like how voltage works in general. That's why I say like an analog type feel, is that it's not always constant in tune and whatnot. But that's something that a lot of like analog modular owners like. They like that. Some people don't even know it's there, but why they like that initial sound. And then you can mess with the LFO speed. Just work with the reverb that you want. Now there are some specific things that I want to tell you, just like also on the side note here. As you have right here, you have intervals, and what this interval area right here, which I didn't really cover last time, is it adds a specific amount of chord progression into a sound. So if I was to go ahead and dial in wildly, you'll probably hear it. It's almost like it's fine tuning. But if you also unsync, they won't carry, these two waveforms won't, or two oscillators won't carry the same modular synthesis, but it will sound different. Also, there is frequency modulation. You know, once again, you have the operator and you have the carrier, and how frequency modulation works in general is that is one frequency being played at a higher pitch than the other, and one is modulating from that. And when you add frequency modulation to such a sound, especially like a bell or but any specific sound, it gives it a metallic feel, and that's more related to a bell. It sounds more like harpsichord, right? So you might want to play with that as well when you're making your bells or whatnot. So if you like this video, give it a like, and if you have any comments, please leave a comment. there is more ways to make bells than to just this, but that is pretty much the basics of a bell. You can get as creative as possible. You might want to even throw in some filters or throw in a chorus effect that could do some cool things as well. You know, there's plenty of other things that you can do. I don't know how long you want me to demonstrate stuff, so let me know in the comment section if you don't mind like long videos or whatnot, because I'll do longer videos in terms of like sound design as well. You know, I enjoy this stuff, so yeah. So leave a comment, let me know what's going on in y'all minds if you like this video. I'm DJ Mcree yet again, and have a nice day.